I am indescribably upset, everyone. Welcome to Deep Dive Zone, the Sonic review series for fans of all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
I'm your host, Devin, joined as always by Lauren and Bruce, and today we have some interesting Sonic comics. You can hear me
Interesting is
smiling.
one way to put it.
Oh boy. Let's let's not beat around the bush. This is we're starting off with, well, I guess this arc is better than what comes after it. This is
Yeah.
The Good, the Bad, and the Unknown arc, which is interesting because I actually have a bit of nostalgia for this because I actually own two parts of this physically. It's the only Penders
Right.
comic that I own in its original form.
Why these comics in specific?
Some kid brought
Any
them to
reason?
school one day, and I was like, hey, these are cool. And I'm pretty sure I did not steal them from him, but they came home with me.
Jesus Christ.
And
All
also,
right.
it's
Okay.
parts 2 and 3 that I have, so I never had the beginning or ending of this. And part 2 is actually falling apart, so they're sitting safely on my shelf right now.
Interesting.
But we're starting with not Sonic number 146 here, it's Shadow number 146.
Yeah, I like that they covered it.
Yeah.
I want to say that Shadow was announced but not out yet at this point.
I don't know. We'd have to know exactly when this issue came out.
But very nice Spaziant drawing of Shadow.
Of course.
And we are starting here with the first story, Prototype, Penders and Butler. Sonic and Shadow do battle in a mysterious facility that may have something to do with someone's history. This is the place we were heading last week, and I'm going to be honest, I really got confused by this.
I was kind of confused by this entire arc.
I didn't find it particularly confusing.
Well,
I don't know. We'll talk more about the entire arc
yeah,
when
part of it
as
is
we
that we,
go
we
on
start
it.
off with we start off incredibly suddenly with no
Yeah.
dialogue and Sonic and Shadow just fighting, and it's like, what happened?
It's so sudden, they actually do it from the inside cover, which usually is reserved for a unique illustration.
That's true.
Yeah, it's very odd because, well, A, Shadow is not our enemy, and B, we were just leaving to come here last time. Why is Sonic separated from everybody else? Why is Shadow beating the shit out of him?
Yeah, we've missed probably like a solid. I want to say like a few hours of storytelling.
Nothing too wrong with that. I'm glad
Well, it's not the
that
first time these comics have done that.
no, it's not. But I'm glad that that they weren't actually false advertising, and yeah, we're gonna get some actual Shadow stories here, and
Yeah,
not just him showing up randomly and then leaving again.
yeah,
Like,
that's true.
took this long.
In any case, yeah, so they have this big fight, and, Steven Butler, still great at action, but,
Yeah,
Sonic sprays Shadow with water and gets out of there. So Tails, Bunny, and Tommy enter as Shadow also leaves. Did I forget that Tommy was coming on this mission?
okay, yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I don't think Tommy was originally on this mission. I mean, maybe he was. I don't know.
Yeah. So Shadow is it's very odd because his motivation here, he keeps talking about how, like, this complex, which that's the only thing they ever call it as far as I recall. He keeps saying, like, oh, maybe this has the secrets to my past, which is why it sounds like it's a Shadow the Hedgehog thing. But
Right.
but Shadow never lost his memory, so what secrets is he looking
hmm
for?
I mean, he was still in cryosleep, so I assume he still has questions about, about a lot of things.
I mean, he doesn't. He has his memory, and so he knows, like, about his time on the Ark and all that.
Right.
But I'm not sure how clear of a picture he has as to what Project Shadow was really about and why it
Yeah.
got shut down.
Yeah, maybe this is more just like he's trying to find information about things beyond just his past. Like, yeah, about Project Shadow.
I suppose it's possible. Anyway, here's Gold Gamma.
You mean Isaac?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Isaac.
This does tell us a little bit about how we got here, which is that Shadow was hanging out on Angel Island, which I guess, does that mean that that's where Locke teleported him to?
I mean, I figured that was pretty obvious.
So maybe that whole last fight took place at Haven?
I think that makes sense.
So he was
Yeah,
just, I guess,
definitely.
hanging out there until he randomly felt, and I quote, A signal just like the one Professor Gerald sent before his station was invaded. What does that mean?
What? Yeah, what the fuck does that mean?
And that led to him discovering this place, apparently directly below Angel Island. I guess it moves, but
That's
Yeah.
true, it does.
and yeah, this gold gamma recolor was sealed away in a manner Shadow compares to himself. Maybe that means something.
Maybe.
We don't really get an explanation of what that signal or the seismic activity from before or why he's attacking Sonic.
See, I think he's just not in a mood to basically waste any time.
Just don't bother me.
Yeah, basically.
Which, granted, I think that's fair, because I feel like that should be more of Shadow's personality in general.
I still don't think he would try to beat him up though. I think you just tell him to leave.
No, you just tell Sonic to go away. You're interrupting what I'm working on.
I can
Whatever
totally
that
see this being, the sort of situation where Sonic is like, "Hey, Shadow, what you doing here? I need to. We're investigating this place. Maybe we can work together." Shadow's like, "Leave me alone." He's like, "Hey, don't be so stupid," and then he like throws a punch basically, and then they fight.
So
Yeah.
Pender's accidentally predicted how annoying Sonic is in the Shadow game.
Oh, God.
Yeah, but I guess.
Yeah, I guess
And
so.
I guess Archie Sonic is the version of Sonic who would like get annoyed enough to just keep fighting Shadow when he told him to leave.
Yeah?
Anywho, so all we really learned from Isaac here is that he wasn't made by Gerald.
Right.
In fact, they say that he was created over 10 millennia ago.
Okay, yes, I couldn't
What the
remember when that
fuck?
was mentioned.
What the hell?
So I don't care about a robot existing 10 millennia ago, but the fact that it happens to be an E-series design is
Yeah.
really lame because that implies that Eggman didn't make the design, which robs him of something cool.
Right.
I hate when any piece of media just retcons something that somebody created and say, "Oh, actually, somebody else created it." Don't do that.
Yeah, it takes a lot of the character's like agency away.
Well, and E-series are derivative of Egg Robos. They're an evolution of
Right.
that design, so it's like
Right.
It's even stranger then, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, a 10,000-year-old robot is not a crazy idea. But
No,
the
not
more we
really.
learn about this facility, the less sense that makes in terms of the humans who did it.
Yeah, it really does.
But that's not quite yet. So, Sonic is injured from his fight with Shadow, and gets found by Rotor and Fiona?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess Fiona's a freedom fighter now for some reason.
She's been around for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean she has, but
I'm
like,
not that surprised at this point.
did she have to go through the same initiation that Amy did? And it takes so fucking long for her to be officially crowned a freedom fighter.
So she fought in the Zorda battle, and
Yeah.
then she's just kind of been hanging around on like mission control or some stuff since. Because like in the home arc, she was around.
Yeah,
So maybe she started helping out during the time skip, I suppose.
I guess so. And maybe they'd be more willing to accept her more readily as a freedom fighter because she's older.
I mean, she's got experience because her whole thing was that
Yeah,
she escaped from the prison camp herself.
that's
and then
true.
had
Yeah,
a life of crime a little bit.
probably would be useful.
Not that that's reflected in her personality, which barely exists.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sonic doesn't know why Shadow was attacking him, so I don't think he has any better explanation than we do.
Right, I forgot that they actually show it.
Yeah, true. We do get to see what led up to the fight, which was
Basically,
about 3 sentences.
well, Sonic is being nosy, which is enough of an excuse, I guess.
Yeah, that's a fair
like I said, Shadow just doesn't want to waste any time, and I
Yeah.
don't think that's that unreasonable.
It'd be good enough for like Jeremy Clarkson to punch somebody in the face, so I guess that works. In any case, here's what's important, which is that Eggman's here.
Is he here, or is he just
He's-
controlling it remote, or does he just have a drone from
I think
afar?
he's just got a drone. I don't think he's actually there.
Yeah, I think
Or is
he's
that not a
just
ship?
base.
That's just like a...
Yeah, I don't think that's a full ship. I think that's just a drone.
Yeah, fair enough. There's an extremely evil drawing of him on that bottom panel, though.
I
I
love that
love
drawing
that.
of that so much.
Yeah. It doesn't really say much other than, oh, they think I'm gonna stay out of this. Of course not. Which means he's dropping a Metal Sonic, new one.
Heck yeah.
What number Metal Sonic is this?
Well, it's hard to count because we had the first Metal Sonic in the Sonic CD, which got destroyed, but then
Right.
got fixed in Chaotix, which got destroyed again, but then fixed in that issue where he helped Sonic and like saved him from lava.
Right.
And those are all technically the same like original, the same memory in that same hard drive, basically.
Right.
This one is a
Right.
different robot entirely, though.
Okay, so all those were just Eggman taking the SSD out of Metal Sonic's battered remains.
Essentially, but this one is a new.
Okay, so this is technically really our second original Metal Sonic.
Yeah, he's very chunky.
He is. His claws also look a little off.
Yeah, so well, that was not much of a story. We didn't really learn anything. We just saw them fight
Not
and then
really.
be like, wow, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know what though? Penders has not managed to offend me yet tonight, so let's here's hope.
Oh boy, yeah.
No, I don't really have any
No,
problems with this.
so far it's not terrible.
Alright. Well, there's another story here, which is called Out of Your Shell by Romy Chacon and Ron Lim, wherein Rotor helps a moody Tommy Turtle to find something he can do to help the team. And it's very funny because we start with Rotor getting up and out of bed. He looks weirdly naked without his accessories. And
Yeah.
he finds Tommy beheaded, or so he thinks.
Uh-huh.
But he's actually just in his shell being depressed. Also, I thought Tommy was living with Sonic.
Well, you see, after even though it was robot copy,
yeah.
that
You know what?
That,
That's
that
fair.
killed your dad.
That's fair.
People might be a little unsettled.
So Sonic has like an irrational fear of Tommy Turtle now, and is like,
Not
no,
Sonic, but I could totally see his parents being unnerved by Tommy now.
Yeah.
okay, that's funny actually. So he's sad because he doesn't have any value to the team, and Rotor's like, hey, you're good at organizing files and cleaning my lab.
Be my lab assistant. You know what? That's a legit job. You should don't balk at it.
Not a bad job.
Yeah, there's
I do
nothing wrong
like
with it.
that Tommy at one point calls Rotor Boomer. That's a callback, and yeah, I guess
That was a
makes sense.
callback I wasn't expecting to see.
And yes, lab assistant is a legitimate job, but it is very funny that like they know that they really do not have an idea of where to go with this character.
Oh yeah, no, they have no idea what the fuck to do with Tommy at the moment. It's obvious.
He also, under Lim's pen, really looks like those aliens from the Fast Forward planet.
Oh yeah, he does.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
But yeah, that's the whole thing. They must have simply not had enough pages because they needed to include this third really weird story.
For some reason,
This third story that I thought was part of the previous story, by the way, for a second.
it does like pick up right afterwards, so I don't even know why they're separate.
Yeah, they really should just be the same story.
Well, and they probably should have had Tommy being the guy helping out in the lab here, but instead they have Sally doing it. This is Circuit Me, Romy Chacon and Al Bigley. While working with unstable ring technology, Sally trips a wire and finds her consciousness switched with that of her computer, Nicole.
Man, I wish I could swap my consciousness with my computer. I'd get so much done.
What does you mean?
Wait, what? Hold.
Would you,
What
the
does-
computer, be getting the stuff done, or you, the flesh man?
Probably both, honestly. My computer could do my homework for me, and well, actually, my computer would basically be doing everything. I'd just be a computer.
Yeah,
Anyhow,
you could browse Reddit faster than ever.
Oh God.
Let's talk about the story. So
Yeah.
first of all, I don't know what it is, but I actually like Bigley's art, not because it's good, but because it is fascinating to look at. It is a mess in a really
It's a very
engaging
interesting
way.
mess.
Like, I don't know.
Well, Bigley's art is
the-
very dynamic, but not in a good way.
Yeah, none of
It
these
reminds
pages are
me-
boring to look at, though.
Well,
It
actually, I
reminds
kind
me
of
of,
like how Rotor looks. He seems a lot more unique looking under Bigley's pen.
He is chunky and like not in a slightly uncomfortable way like Lim
Yeah.
draws him.
Yeah, he
Um,
just kind of looks a little more top heavy, which, granted, I like that about Boom Knuckles also. So
I think it reminds me a lot of Sam Maxwell's art from back in the day, where
Yeah.
nothing is particularly well drawn, but the gesture of it all is interesting to look at.
yeah, it's fascinating to witness.
Yeah. Anywho, Sally kind of seems like a bit of a dope here. Like she keeps asking very short, pointless questions, and Rotor's like, "Yeah, it's this. I'm busy. You know, I just need you here for this little thing." And then she's like, "Oh, okay." And then she just bumps into exposed wiring.
Yeah, it's weird portraying Sally like this when she's never really been portrayed like this before.
Yeah, but it doesn't last long because it's just an excuse. For one thing, she does also get covered in some sort of fluid. There's like beakers and test tubes flying everywhere. She must have like started off like a Rube Goldberg machine of fucking shit up because like she falls all over the lab.
Yeah. Wait, why does Rotor have like beakers of liquid in his lab?
I don't know. He's doing
He's a
electronics
tech.
and computer stuff. So
Yeah, Rotor's a tech. I don't get why he'd have those.
I mean, chemistry can play a part in techno. I don't know.
Yes, it can, but
This is not an
He's
interesting
never-
tangent. I'm gonna move on.
Alright.
I'm sorry. Because, shocker, Sally is not harmed by this at all, but instead finds her brain switched with Nicole's.
Yeah, that
All
sure
right.
does happen.
Yeah.
It's very weird because, like, well, for one thing, Nicole barely has any presence in this comic.
Yeah.
Like,
They
this
really-
this is the first major thing they've done with her in a while. The last time I remember was Rotor trying to hack into her and getting nowhere.
Right.
And it will lead to something interesting eventually. But as for this story, it's mostly just strange.
Well, yeah. So,
Yeah.
like the thing about this story, we thought it was uninteresting because it's just a random side story. Then suddenly they switch bodies, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is actually a really weird concept. Let's
Yeah,
see where it goes.
yeah,
And
this
then
could totally
wait a
be an
minute,
interesting
they only have
concept.
3 pages left. Oh
Yeah,
no!
it goes nowhere.
But they try, kind of, because there are a lot of weird things they do with it. Because like, Sally is in the computer, and so she's like, "Oh, what? I could just think and scan things, and then, oh look, that it works. Wow!" And so she's like, "I don't know how the heck to operate this," but she like gets the hang of it. But more interestingly, is Nicole's side in Sally's body, where at first she's kind of responding like herself, but then she like walks outside and then she's like, "Yo, what the heck? I didn't realize this is what being alive was like. This is insane, man." And then she gets pulled out of it like before they can go anywhere. For a minute I was like, "Oh shoot, Nicole's not gonna want to give it up," and then the body just switches back on its own.
Yeah, Sally is stuck trying to figure out how to do computer functions, but Nicole is like, she gets to experience the horrors of corporeal existence. And it's funny because she's like, oh, sight, sound, smell. And then she takes one look at Sonic and experiences such intense mixed feelings that she falls unconscious.
I forgot that was the catalyst.
Me too, Nicole. I do think that it's a little bit of a oh fuck no moment because she looks at Sonic, she's like, this is what it's like to be alive, to feel, to love, ? And it's like, no, we don't need more ships here.
Oh god, that would have been
I
fucking
didn't
weird.
even think of it that way.
It
Neither
doesn't
did
happen,
I.
thankfully, but it's like,
Yeah, it doesn't, but Jesus, that would
given
have
how
been...
hairy things are going to get, it's like, ugh. But yeah, then she just goes back, and that's it. It's a very
Yeah, pretty
nothing
much.
story on the whole.
I don't
Really
understand
is.
it. Honestly, it's a very interesting concept.
Yeah, it's an
And
interesting concept that
it's,
could have been a lot more interestingly executed.
Well, it has such promise. Like, it
Yeah.
finally gives Nicole anything, and then they haven't had anything for a long time. But the problem is the story is so short. Take out the Tommy story, for God's sake.
Honestly,
You don't
yeah.
need 3 stories in an issue. And
Yes.
maybe you would have had some room to do anything meaningful. But instead, you just get a tiny tease, and then it just ends.
It ends
I don't
kind
get it.
of with no resolution, also.
All I can say is, wait for next week with a better writer and artist. That's all I can say.
Well, so I
Okay.
was about to say, is this foreshadowing a spoiler, or perhaps this led to a spoiler? Because I know there's something that happens with Nicole, but I thought maybe this was coincidental.
I don't know how much of a coincidence it is, because this is clearly a chalk-on, like, inventory story, and the person who does do stuff with this next week is a completely different writer and artist, so...
Interesting.
Well, if they picked up what Chaka was putting down, then I have more respect for
Possible.
this. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Sonic number 147, Sonic versus Shadow versus Metal.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is the one that's falling apart on my shelf. But
Right.
this is Ignition, Penders and Butler. Sonic, Shadow, and Metal all fight while Isaac says cryptic things, I guess. Not a lot really happens in this comic, I'm going to be honest.
Not really.
We do have an awesome shot of Metal Sonic looking slightly less chunky under Butler arriving from the desert. But Bunny is patching up Sonic while Tails and Tommy are somewhere else. I thought they were all together, but I guess they went off on their own.
No, because Tails and Tommy weren't there when they found Sonic.
Okay. I don't know why everybody split up. That doesn't seem like a good idea, but...
I mean, we've gone over... We this has happened before.
Yeah. Anywho, Fiona gets shocked by a loose wire, so I guess that's our connection to last issue.
Right, totally. I like the way she reacts, saying, whoever did the wiring this place should be strung up by their thumbs. Like,
Jesus Christ.
alright.
Well, this doesn't seem to be a place populated by good people. We're not finding anything good here, so...
We're not really finding anything other than Shadow and Sonic violence.
Yeah, I suppose. I do like this scene of Sonic pushing Rotor on a cart because he's too heavy to lift.
This is a great moment.
That is pretty
I
funny.
like this.
That's
Sonic
funny.
is just like, we need to go somewhere fast. And he's like, okay, this is what we'll do.
Yeah, here, hop up aboard, big guy.
It's great. It's just a cute moment.
So that's a funny moment. I can appreciate that.
Tails and Tommy do witness Metal Sonic on a different monitor, though, approaching Shadow and Isaac. And I want to highlight this line, where Shadow says, "A mechanical version of Sonic? Could my creator have built him as well? Gerald has been dead for 50 years!"
Yeah, but
Did
he's never
Penders
seen Metal
maybe-
Sonic, has he?
It's true.
Yeah.
Did Gerald maybe, or did not Gerald? Did Penders maybe think Gerald was still alive?
But he knows Sonic. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose that doesn't make much sense.
one interesting thing is that this new Metal Sonic has a different personality from the old one. The old one had, like, snark. This one is...
Yeah,
He's more generic, basically, as just killer robot.
yeah. He's just killer automaton.
Well, but he's also a killer automaton that thinks he's better than everyone.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty standard for Metal, though.
I'm just saying he's not completely generic
Yeah,
killer
fair.
robot.
I mean, fair, yeah.
He's so prideful that he just has to punch Shadow in the face over it.
He's got to prove he's better than Shadow.
I do like that Metal has yellow speech bubbles and Isaac has green speech bubbles.
It does make it easy to distinguish who's talking.
Yeah, you don't want to get clouded up with too much robot speak.
Also, I just noticed Isaac even says 102 on him.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. Good job. That was yes.
Okay.
I have to imagine that's an artistic error,
I assume
and
so.
Penders didn't intend for that to be there, and then someone
I
was just
would
like
assume so.
draw
They-
gold gamma.
Yeah, draw gold gamma, so they even put the 102. That's got to be what happened.
Because if that's on purpose, I don't know what that means.
That's such a weird thing to do on purpose.
It
I
has
don't
to be a
even know
mistake.
what it means that he looks like an E-series in the first place, because they don't even... I don't think there's a line saying, oh, I took the design from here or whatever, because Eggman doesn't know what this place is either.
No, Eggman has no idea what's here. He just
Well,
saw Bunny was here.
I don't know if we've been told yet who created them, but it makes enough sense. We can mention it when we get there.
Right.
Isaac has mentioned the people that built him, but their names don't mean much.
Yes?
Anywho,
Okay.
yeah, he said something like, oh, my creators were Dr. Keller and Dr. Saperstein, or whatever their names were.
Did he?
Dr. Clark and Dr.
Oh.
Fuck. What was it? It was, Clark and Niven.
Anywho, so Shadow and Metal are fighting, and Sonic's like, hey, a fight's going on, I'll join in that. And then he just, like, immediately is like, shit, this sucks. And is like, he's actually fucked.
What?
3 on
I
1.
know. Why? That's such a... That I'm gonna be honest, that's not... Sonic's smarter than that. Or at least he should be.
I mean, I could believe that he would get into a fight like this. I think it's just funny that he runs in there, gets shot at, almost gets jumped by Shadow, and then just runs away.
Well, yeah, no, he would get into this fight, but it would be, like, naturally. Like, he'd be fighting Metal, and then Shadow would show up. Or, like, whatever.
Yeah, it's also weird that Isaac, when he sees Sonic, says, a non-human species capable of intelligent speech, intriguing. This warrants
What about
investigation,
Shadow?
perhaps even necessitating dissection. Yeah, why does he not think that looking at Shadow?
Yeah, he was literally right next to him in that exact frame, so it's very ironic.
Shadow also says,
yeah.
I've encountered Sonic before. He and his friends are all like that. And it's like, buddy, like, sure, you were made
like
by
that.
Gerald, but you've lived in this world for a while. You know that's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
Because you're one of them.
Wait, let me think about this.
He's supposed to look like one of them, because
This is something that Penders has been saying, that he's like, oh, what if Shadow isn't even a normal Mobian at all?
Well, I mean, technically he isn't a Mobian.
Yeah.
He's, like, sort of a Mobian, because he has Mobian DNA, clearly. But, like, he's also got Black Arm's DNA and such.
Well, we've never had an explicit understanding of how Shadow was made.
Right, that's the problem.
Because I have to imagine that he's made with, like, you know, the embryo of a regular anthro-hedgehog person.
Yeah, I would assume so.
There are actually in the background assets for the Shadow the Hedgehog cutscene with the flashback of Gerald and Doom making Shadow, like when the commander as a boy makes that funny face because he screams.
Yeah.
There are very faintly in the background big tubes that have weird, incomplete, like, shadow heads that are, like, undulating.
Ugh.
Awesome. But in this universe, now that I think about it, Station Square was, like, isolated, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's possible that the time Shadow was created in, the humans had no contact with the Mobians. They were completely cut off. So perhaps that's why
Shadow was still made on the Ark.
Yeah.
Which is in
wait a minute. Why wouldn't the people of Station Square know about it then?
Well, and also, didn't Station Square had some mild contact with the outside world?
Hang on, wait a minute. How did the Ark? How did they shoot something into space if they were supposed to be cut off?
Well, to be fair, the Ark was probably built in orbit. But
that
how
means
did they
weren't isolated?
Right,
yeah,
A, that means they weren't isolated. And B, they had to send something into space to build the Ark. So the idea of Station Square being isolated makes no sense.
Whoops.
Oh, these comics are so good. Anyway, randomly, Rotor, Bunny, and Fiona are being electrocuted now?
It's the floor, that happens.
Oh,
yeah.
Right, I forgot about how normal science facilities have electrocution floors.
Well, this isn't a normal science facility.
Definitely not.
Yeah, fair enough. Tails presses a button, it'll hopefully help, but it just makes a hole.
In the wrong... in the wrong place.
I like this ugly drawing of Eggman laughing at it. I don't know what he's laughing at, because he doesn't know shit about what's going on. But
yeah, he can watch Metal. He's watching through Metal's eyes.
Yeah.
No, I understand that, but it's like he doesn't understand the point of this pit any better. I guess he just likes seeing Sonic fall. So.
Yeah, he likes seeing
100%.
Sonic failing.
Yeah,
that's totally what's going on.
Yeah,
that's the the cliffhanger. Although I want to mention, I think Tails is trying to say sizzling SWAT bots. It says sizzling SWAT boys.
Oh yeah, it does.
Huh.
I'm a SWAT boy, and yeah, another very middle of the middle story.
It's definitely something.
I mean, yeah, there was some action here.
Yeah.
It was action, but not a whole lot beyond the action.
Well, hey,
No.
that story's something. Now let's move on to nothing. It's another frigging
Yeah.
off-panel parody bullshit story.
Why do we have to get these as full stories?
This
Nothing else
side,
to fill the pages for some reason.
this side of parodies, Gallagher and Monarch. Sonic is left exasperated as Michael Gallagher and Dave Monarch challenge his patience by writing and drawing themselves as absurd superhero caricatures. Also, I want to die.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fun fact, this story features Mike Pellerito as a character, as the editor, but it does not credit him as the editor, because apparently a bunch of off-panels are written featuring Justin Gabri as the editor, but, you know, with off-panels and these stories, you know, they got to the point that they were inventory stories and panels, so they just redrew Gabri as Pellerito.
Interesting.
Funny.
So that's very silly. Anyway, Sonic may as well not even be here. This is just the staff fucking around with their self-inserts.
That might be, honestly, that little tidbit about the editors might be the most interesting part of this story.
Yeah, I mean, what do you even want? Monarch and Gallagher are here as themselves, and they're like, now we're superheroes. And Sonic's like, hey, I should get some badniks for them to fight.
Hey, it's classic badniks. We haven't seen them for a while.
I know.
They're
all like geriatric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess they must not be... They must have forgotten to write and design any superpowers for the superhero forms, because Motobug just whaps them.
Imagine getting your ass beaten by a goddamn Motobug.
Sonic Mania, coming 2017. Yeah, I mean, it's like, they do that, and then that gets them to just fight each other instead. And then, at the end, Pellerito shows up and is like, hey, you two are being stupid. Check out my authored self-insert, and I'm one of the flying monkeys?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Anyway, that's it. Managing editor Victor Gorlick is like, this is stupid, and he puts the end sign down, and that's the end.
Thank God.
Yep.
Whatever, man. Third story. Legendary third story. Fox and the Hound, starring Tails and Mutsky. Written by Romy Chacon and drawn by Al Bigley. With Sonic off saving the world, Mutsky is left feeling a little bored, so Tails decides to give him something fun to do.
Doesn't Sonic have parents that can play with Mutsky?
Probably.
Have we just forgotten his parents exist again?
Yes.
Okay,
no,
fair.
I don't know. What do you want me to say about this? This is more inventory story bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want you to say anything specific.
Okay, then I won't. Sonic
Alright,
is like,
fair.
I got a plan to save as an excuse for why you can't play with his dog. I don't know what threat he means. I guess it's just the spawn mower again.
Probably.
So Tails and Mutsky, they play fetch, they play hide and seek, they race at swimming, and hopscotch, which is weird for a dog with 4 legs.
Well, that's why Mutsky looks so damn confused.
Yeah, I don't think they even tried.
Yeah, Mutsky is just like, I don't know how to do this, man.
By far, the highlight of this story is when they're messing around, and then Mutsky, like, randomly attacks Tails. Sonic shows up, and he's like, oh yeah, we trained him to kill at one point, so he got a little confused.
Why would Sonic teach him this? Why is Sonic, like, psychotic, apparently?
Well, you know, it's possible. Was there any extended period of time where Roby and Mutsky had their free will? Because it could have been taught at that point.
Well, no, but
yes,
didn't
with Chuck
Sonic...
for a while.
But didn't Sonic say he taught him that? Yeah, we used to practice to hide and defend from an attack. So that's something Sonic taught him. At
Yeah,
least it
and
sounds
since
like it.
Mutsky was with Chuck for all of the backstory of this comic, that means
Right.
that like they taught him that at some point between Robotropolis being freed and now.
I'm just saying, Roby and Mutsky is a force to be reckoned with. So
Well, oh yeah,
it would
Roby
make
and
sense
Mutsky
to train
definitely.
that. So it could have happened sometime in that period.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, just pumping this comic full of nebulous backup stories. I want to note that there's art in the fan art column here from their pseudonym is Adamus, who is a prominent, like, still on Sonic forums. So, hi if you're watching this video. Probably not, though. But he would go on to work with Penders as a translator for a bunch of stuff
Oh,
and various other
interesting.
things. And, well, nowadays, mostly you can just see him in Penders threads on forums talking about how weird and uncomfortable that experience was.
Interesting.
I
But,
have another point from the back here. I would like to point out that at the end there's a preview for the next issue, and it has a different cover than the
Yeah, it
actual
does.
issue has. And it's like finished.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I
I kind of preferred this cover, to be honest.
I wouldn't say
I prefer this cover, actually.
I don't know if it's super finished because like the coloring looks a little unfinished, but yeah, it's a totally different drawing from Spaziant.
Yeah,
and you'll actually see in some of these. We haven't been looking at them, but some of the previews for covers have unfinished versions where Spaziant is drawing more in his normal style, like this, rather than trying to look like the SEGA art.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm saying this is a completely different cover. It's not just
that's, well, yeah, it's
unfinished.
interesting that this isn't just unfinished. This is like
yeah,
totally different. And yeah, honestly, this one kind of looks better.
Yeah, well, and the Eggman face in the back looks a lot more like classic Robotnik, just
It
in the mouth and
does.
mustache shape.
It looks like a combination of classic Robotnik with Eggman's glasses.
Yeah. Anywho, Sonic number 148. This is the real cover, and it's based off of Sonic Battle. And they have kind of similar posing, but yeah, it's totally different.
They do. Yeah.
And
I thought we'd escaped Sonic Battle.
We basically have, because this has nothing to do with Sonic Battle.
It has nothing to do with Sonic Battle.
But that's why I thought that they had to change the cover, because somebody said, hey,
Sonic Battle adaptation.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, fine, we'll make a cover based off of it.
I mean, I guess
months after the game came out, but yeah.
I guess if it's just a cover, a Sonic Battle does have a really cool art style, so I can appreciate that.
It's like the best part of the game, basically.
Yeah, if I could just get like just the art style, that'd be great. I don't know how that would work.
You guys said you like the old cover better, and I get that, but I still like this one. I don't think it's
this cover's fine.
It has nothing to do with the story.
Yeah, the Sonic Battle art just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anywho, we are on part 3 of this, Genesis. Why is it called that? Who knows? Penders and Butler. As Sonic evades Shadow's attack, Isaac explains to Metal Sonic the history of his creator, Ivan Kintober. And who cares about that? What I want to know is what the hell is Dylan the Porcupine doing reappearing after like 150 issues?
Oh no, he's a backup character. He's a backup freedom fighter. He's allowed to do things.
Substitute freedom fighter. I'll have you know it's the correct title. Obviously this is completely unexpected and random, but it's even weirder because at this point I expect like returns like that to be momentous things, but Dylan just shows up. And this is like their only part in the story, so I don't know why.
Yeah,
it's cool that somebody remembered a character existed.
It really does give me vibes of, oh shit, like, the writing is just like, yeah, character comes and talks to Sally, and artist is like, okay, well, here, let's use Dylan.
Well, it's weird, because I'm trying to remember, did the sub-fighters even show up for the Zorda battle? I don't think they did.
Don't remember, they probably didn't.
I wouldn't be surprised either way. I can't recall.
Well, we didn't note them, is what I'm thinking. So I think that if we had seen them, we would have noticed. But
we probably would have pointed them out.
And yeah, he has no actual role here. He's just here to tell Sally, like, we lost contact, and then she orders him to do something we don't see.
Bring jewels.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I don't know. This arc feels like it's got some screws loose, and we'll see a little bit more of that later.
This arc feels like it's trying to set up important lore and then not actually telling us that important lore.
Yeah, Sonic wakes up in, like, a rail system that's already running?
Why would the rail system even be running in the first place?
Yeah, this place was abandoned for potentially hundreds of years. Maybe even thousands, if Isaac is to believe.
Well, it has a bunch of traps and stuff, and it's been reactivated as they've walked in. So maybe it literally just activated the train to try to run over Sonic. I don't know. It's possible.
Or maybe it reactivated things as when people came in just because it thought activity was starting again.
It's probably more like the explanation.
In any case, Sonic jumps in a train car. Shadow chases after him, sort of, and then they just kind of stop. Shadow chases after him. Metal and Isaac just jump in their own car and just go for a ride.
Okay, so wait, did I miss something? Why are Metal, Isaac, and Shadow all on the same side now? They're not even fighting. Before it was like a free-for-all, but not anymore. It's just everyone against Sonic for some reason.
Because, fuck Sonic.
I mean, I'd believe that, but it seems like a thing that you should mention at some point. But they just act like, nah, they're all buddies.
Yeah. It's very, very odd. I guess the unknown and good, bad, and the unknown was what anybody's fucking motivation is.
I think it is.
But yeah, Isaac and Metal start talking about Robotnik versus Kintober. Meanwhile, Fiona, Rotor, and Bunny are all still being electrocuted during this.
It's either been like 20 minutes or like 5 seconds.
Yeah. Tommy is the one who saves them by smacking a circuit box with a pipe while wearing a leather glove.
Which, no.
I don't think that works.
Why leather? Why not rubber?
They should have had an inanimate carbon rod save the day. But they're fine. It's fine.
They're main characters. They can't be electrocuted to death yet.
Yeah. So anyway, this is the exposition dump.
Right.
So Isaac was created by scientists working under Ivan Kintober, a distant Eggman ancestor.
Yeah. So the idea is that it's a design that Eggman took from an ancestor, I guess.
Right.
But it's funny because it's even more removed from that because it was actually adapted from Zorda technology, which is hilarious. They just had to make it 2 levels removed. And also, that's really lame. Like, I would have accepted a little more readily that if it was still someone from the Robotnik line, but no, it's just Zorda technology. Like, really? Okay, sure, man.
Decent sense.
Yeah, I think, well, and it's like we're placing all this sudden importance on Ivan Kintober. If you wanted to say that we're dealing with the repercussions of his actions, then yeah, but to retcon that a Robotnik ancestor was also the one who killed the Zorda ambassador is... it's
effectively doing the whole thing where, one of the main characters is associated with the entire planet's history.
Yeah, well, and the thing is just that I don't necessarily mind that, but it's shrinking the universe, It's like...
Yeah.
Because whether it was humans bombing themselves back to the Stone Age in Sat AM, because that was the original Sat AM backstory, or here, where it was them killing a squid that then bombed them back to the Stone Age, it's hubris, right? That's supposed to be humanity's folly in this series.
Right.
To attribute it all to the Robotnik family makes it seem like, oh, they're just uniquely evil.
Yeah, it comes off as, oh, it's the Robotnik family's hubris.
Yeah. And I also want to note that Isaac mentions that Ivan Kintober, born June 6, 2006, exactly 12,010 years, 11 months, 2 weeks, 9 hours, 47 minutes, and 13 seconds ago. It has not been 12,000 years. It's been... like 3,000, I thought?
I don't think they actually gave a direct...
No, it's been less than 1,000, because this is... They consistently, before this point, have given the years in the 3,000s, I'm pretty sure. And we talked about how, the speedy regrowth of life since then. But it has not been...
Well, the 3,000 year... The year I think the years have been shown as like 35 something. I would assume that's like from a specific point when the calendar started, not like since the Day of Fury.
Yeah, but if Kentober was born, then he could only have been a certain age after dissecting the Zorda
Yeah,
before they bombed him out.
right.
There's nothing to say that the Zorda ambassador didn't come and then the other Zorda came later.
Well, that's what I assumed happened.
There could have been a gap there.
Well, I understand that, but they say 2006 is when he was born, and it's the, what is it, the 30th century, 32nd century right now in the present, so...
Well, again, we don't know if that's still from 2006 or from some other point in the future that starts at another year zero.
I don't think that's what it is. Whatever. This is
well,
tangent.
But that's how calendars work in a society.
I understand that, but I don't think that's how they've been using it here.
I don't know.
I'm sorry. This doesn't matter.
It is just in general a mistake.
It is
to put dates on.
Really, that's why Mega Man
stories.
That's why I think Mega Man's had the best idea to just go with 20XX.
Yeah, that cover large time spans anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that Undertale always did 20x-teen, because then there's only a certain amount that it can be past a certain decade.
But, I mean, the best way to do it is just to give a month and days. That's it.
Or to make up their own calendar.
Yeah, well, that doesn't make sense in this sense either, because why would they use the same 12 months that we do?
Yeah. Anyway, none of this really matters that much.
No, but we have a habit of doing this.
Ivan Kentober is cryogenically frozen in this facility somewhere.
Yeah, and I was really expecting him to, like, be shown at some point.
Yeah.
At least in this issue.
I feel like he might at some point.
Yeah, I was expecting, like, there to be a big reveal at the end of this part of the story. That, like, oh, here's his cryo chamber.
Yeah, instead we just get more info dumping, recapping with a lot of words what happened with the Zorda and Isaac being the guardian of this facility.
After we get through him being the guardian, we kind of just get into stuff we already know until a certain something else.
Retcons?
I do find it hilarious that... So it would be one thing if Metal Sonic and Isaac were just talking while Shadow and Sonic were fighting, but no. Tails is like, this is really important. Sonic, listen up. When he's
Sonic's
like busy fighting for his life,
and Sonic's even like,
really
why
important?
Is this important, Tails?
Yeah.
Sonic, you need to know your history lessons. Come on, bud.
I don't understand why he's doing this.
Well,
they could just talk later, but it's hilarious.
And between the date and this next bit, it's a little bit funny to say that about history lessons that are factually incorrect, because Bruce noted this before, that Isaac talks about some of the energy from the gene bomb reacting with barrel deposits to create Chaos Emeralds.
We already have an explanation for Chaos Emeralds. They fell from space. They killed the second batch of dinosaurs.
Yeah.
That's true.
So what the fuck?
Yeah.
Huh. That's kind of disappointing, actually. I forgot that they had already said that the Chaos Emeralds came from space.
Well, you know what?
There's nothing to say.
I would have accepted this explanation more than the space explanation, to be fair, if we didn't already have the space explanation.
Well, because I thought this was actually kind of neat.
No, this is a neat explanation.
Very easily does away with a bit of weirdness with artificial Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah.
Because the Chaos Emeralds are just artificial in the first place.
These Chaos Emeralds, according to this lore, which, from what Devin has said, is basically ignored after Penders leaves.
Whoops. Yeah, I like this one better than
honestly, just coming from space is boring. This is a much more interesting lore, and it can explain how someone could make an artificial Chaos Emerald. The thing I harped the most on about SA2's plot.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it makes sense for Chaos Emeralds to come from the land per se. I don't know if I like attributing them to Ivan Kentober, just because it's more of those yet another thing that actually wasn't by anyone we know.
Well, even still,
He
though, the
didn't
stuff
make it.
coming.
It
No,
was
it was indirectly caused by him because he
yeah.
caused the Day of Fury, and the Day of Fury
That's
led to
not
the
the same
Chaos
thing.
Emeralds.
Yeah.
So it
I
really isn't
guess.
directly his fault. I
Yeah.
just think it's more interesting than saying, "Oh, they're magic rocks that fell from space."
Yeah, because the space
Perhaps.
explanation is still a non-explanation.
Exactly. At least this is an actual explanation. The space explanation is just like magic shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. In any case, they finally catch up with Shadow, and I want to note that as Shadow's trying to open this door here, Metal Sonic is miscolored to look like he has Sonic's eyes. I think they mistook him for Sonic.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
he
you're
does.
right.
That looks really weird.
Yeah, but they open the door. Sonic bodies Shadow, and I do like that he hits him, and then it hurts his foot to do it. And he says, "What are you made of? A brick wall?"
I like these little references to Shadow being basically invulnerable because in the first issue of this story, we got Shadow just jumping, not even jumping, just stepping off of Angel Island.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
that's funny. That's fun. That makes sense for Shadow.
But they finally stumble upon the ultimate secret, which is a big fuck off missile for some reason.
Boring.
The countdown is now on for Armageddon.
We've already had multiple nuclear Armageddon threats.
Who's launching
No.
this?
I don't know, some AI, maybe Isaac.
I don't know, because this is another case where the facility just does something, but Isaac is still frozen.
Yeah,
sorry, Ivan is still frozen.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this facility just like started functioning when
Are you
people
making me
started
joke
coming
over
in.
names Isaac and Ivan? Anyway, we have another story here that is another farce, but this one I think is kind of funny. This is
It's kind of
Playing
funny, yeah.
Around, written and drawn by Nelson Ribeiro. I don't think we've ever seen him in a writing role.
Probably not.
And it's Knothole putting on a play about the freedom fighters.
It's kind of cute.
It's something. It's a little weird because just Ribeiro's art in general is a little odd to look at.
Yeah.
It's just everybody gets these giant ass bottom lips, and
Yeah.
has like really detailed arms with huge hands and feet. The expressions are definitely like not as bad as Pender's, but yeah, very weird.
Yeah.
And speaking of weird, they're putting on a play, but everybody's played by someone other than themselves, except Sonic.
This is and Chuck, because Chuck is too awesome for anyone to play.
No
other
one
than
can play
himself.
Chuck but himself, obviously. We all know this.
But yeah, no, this is what makes the story actually kind of funny. I don't know why they're doing this. There's no explanation. In fact, the characters seem to be like, "Why are we doing this?"
Yeah.
But it's hilarious.
Yeah,
It is funny.
Everybody seems like pissed off, especially well, what do we call this Knuckles? Draggles? He's playing Sally.
I love Nichols playing Sally. That's just
Like, okay, obviously this has no intention other than being fun, but it's like very,
Yeah.
like, why did you cast this like this? Because Tails says, I can't believe I didn't even get the part to play myself. So
No, he got Snively instead.
If you needed to cast people, why didn't you cast everybody as the perfect match for themselves?
Because it's funnier.
Archimedes playing Nicole is probably my favorite.
I don't know.
Why?
I love Big playing Eggman.
Yes, that is
and
my
Tails as
favorite.
Snively. Tails as Snively is kind of scary.
Tails does do a good Snively.
He does, but Big as Eggman is just incredible.
It is too perfect.
I'm sorry, I'm still on Archimedes as Nicole, because Nicole does not have a line in this play, so why does he need an outfit for that? Just
he's
use a prop.
there. No, it's
just
funnier to have Archimedes waddling around in this Nicole suit.
Yeah. And yeah,
Well,
Big as
Nicole
Eggman
Nicole is still a person. Don't forget.
Frankly, Big is a surprisingly good actor because he doesn't. None of this dialogue looks like anything Big would say or even necessarily think to say.
Nah, this is totally Eggman. This is furry Eggman.
See, that's why it's this is such a big win.
Yeah, we've learned Big's true talent in life. It's not fishing. It's not saving the world. It's acting.
He's a thespian.
He's a thespian. I'd watch it. I'd watch Big do a one-man production of, I don't know, something.
Chicago. Well, and there's other good jokes. I don't necessarily like the Rotorus fat jokes being like, oh, he's too heavy to play Tails, but I do like Chuck has to wear this getup to look like a robot because he's not roboticized anymore.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I like Amy holding up the sound effect panels also.
Well, it's funny that she does that, and it's funny that Sonic hits so fast that she's like got too many of them, and they're like piling up on the ground. You can really hear the '60s Batman orchestra hit for each of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, this story ends a hell of a way with Knuckles Sally desperately trying to stop Sonic from kissing him.
Sonic seems really intent on kissing Knuckles.
Well, it's funny because what have I been doing this entire show but like jokingly shipping Sonic and Knuckles?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Here they're doing it on purpose.
Well, it's not an uncommon ship, but I didn't expect actual like fuel in the comic for it.
I mean, to me, it's a funny joke ship more than anything else.
It's usually a joke ship, but I'm saying it's not you see it a lot.
Yeah, you see it a lot. You don't usually get like official stuff for it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Also, we have Charmy Pog.
You say Pog? I was gonna say it's a sweet bro hella Jeff face, but yeah, he's the end card. He looks so weird.
Just kind of makes him look like he has a bunch of wings.
So here's a question for you: do you think Charmy is not actually there, or is he actually flying right next to Knuckles'
Oh no, he
head?
is. He's totally right next.
And
to
he's
Knuckles'
just
head.
small.
Yeah, well, remember, he can change his size.
Well, I'm like, have they gotten rid of that, or is that still a thing?
Last time we saw him, I think it was a thing.
Well, last time we saw him was returning.
Last time we saw him was returning. Excuse me. The time before that, I think, was the last time we saw him. Yeah, Gruckles.
It's been a while.
Last time we saw him, while we still had Gruckles, he was still able to change his size. So I'm assuming that's still part of his powers.
I'm just wondering.
So very silly, but surprisingly fun story. It might be the best story in the issue, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it might be.
Probably the most fun.
It's certainly better than this third story, which doesn't need to be here. This is a Tales story called Destiny's Child. We're still doing this. Written by Penders and drawn by Tim Smith III?
Huh?
Who, I think if I'm remembering correctly, this guy was an artist on a lot of the Sonic X comics, which we will get to eventually.
Interesting. Okay.
But it doesn't look like Archie normally does, so it's a bit of a jar.
No, I'm not sure if I think this art is bad or not. I don't think I do.
Some of it isn't great, but a lot of it is
some of it's not
good.
great, but most of it is like, I think a good chunk of it is pretty good to look at.
Yeah, but feeling trapped without any family to connect to, Tails is visited by Athair.
Is Athair the closest thing to family that Tails has at this point? Because according to this story, he's never met Merlin.
I didn't realize that he never met Merlin.
I thought he had met Merlin either at some point in the stories or like before the stories.
So what it is that we had that first, I don't know if this was the first comic with Merlin, but that one where Sonic got shoes from him for Tails?
Yeah.
So we had that, and we know that Tails hadn't met him by that point. And then we had Merlin take care of Tails after Gruckles beat him up.
I guess he wasn't conscious during that.
No, especially since that was only for a little bit, because in the middle of that exchange with Gruckles, he got replaced by fake Tails.
Right, which... yeah.
And, yeah, so Tails is upset because his parents are still in space.
Yeah, damn, I agree, Tails.
Yeah, I can't believe that Penders, of all people, are, like, acknowledging that, because, yeah, it's actually a key thing.
Well, it is.
We should recognize that.
You can tell that Penders didn't quite read all of that, because Tails seems to believe that the Bem are intentionally holding Rosemary and Amadeus hostage.
That's true.
Which is not true. They just don't have a way of getting off Argentium.
They're effectively just guests of the Bem.
Yeah, and... Well, the thing is, like, it's weird, right? Because Tails has almost no connection to his parents, is the funny thing.
Right, but he still wants his parents to be around. I can understand.
He wants them to be around so much that he says it's more important than fighting Robotnik, which I don't know if I believe.
I don't think he would actually say that. That was a weird one.
But Athair is like, oh, don't worry, man, because your chosen one bullshit still isn't over yet.
I really thought we'd established that this was already over.
I don't know if it ever will end at this point.
God, I hope it does.
He's fought Mogul so many times now. It's like, who cares?
Yeah, it's like
Athair cares. Gosh darn it. and Athair is part of the overpowered echidna gang. So what he says, he's going to get done.
He's also apparently the closest thing Tails has to. Well, no, I guess Sonic is probably the closest thing Tails has to family.
At some point, at least, I don't know if he is right now, lived with Sonic, so like...
I assume he still does.
You'd think that Jules and Bernie would be more parents to Tails than his parents.
I would assume so.
Because literally he never met his dad before he was roboticized. And
that's true.
And
no, but
probably didn't.
I guess the thing is he knows his parents are still alive. That's what's like. That's what's bothering him.
Yeah.
Can understand that.
Yeah, fair enough. I will say this 3-panel exchange near the end is very fitting because Tails screams, "Why am I forced into all this bullshit? Why can't you just tell me what's going on?" And there's this one repeated panel of Athair just blip out of existence.
And just like that, he's gone.
That is hilarious. Just the floating Athair head with a non-expression, and then just gone.
Well, to me, it's not even a non-expression. It looks like he has this expression of like, "Oh crap! I didn't expect you to fight back."
Well, it's such a tiny little blob of a drawing. To me, it looked like
that's a good description. Of drawing.
Like I have nothing to say here. Goodbye.
Yeah. Like, oh, you argued. I can't argue back. I'm leaving.
Yeah, and well, that's it. We got nothing from that.
Holy crap, we got nothing.
But it does. It is foreboding.
It is foreboding.
It does mean that maybe we're gonna get something more on this plot line.
God help us.
Let's continue to the final issue of this arc. Not this episode, but The Good, the Bad, and the Unknown versus... Yeah, it's the final round. I don't have anything to say about this cover. It's just a regular Sonic cover.
The Hedgehog.
So, final part. Armageddon, Penders and Butler. Sonic, Shadow, and the others rush to escape the facility after discovering it houses nuclear weapons. I guess that's about as good a description as I can get.
Yeah.
Is that about right?
So we do see what Sally was doing before, which is sending Chuck and Jules to the facility?
Heck yeah, I can't think of a better duo to swoop in and
save
everybody.
Yes, you're correct. I can think of who they would be more likely to send, because they would probably send, like, Jeffrey or whoever.
But, well, see, but Sally knows, like, oh, shoot, trouble. Well, we gotta send the best.
Send in the big guns.
That's right.
I suppose so.
Excuse me, they don't use guns.
We're not there yet.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
No, we've brought that up. That was brought up a long time ago already.
No, but it's gonna come up again.
It does come up again in this issue.
So, Sonic and Metal Sonic are fighting around this missile that's launching, and the Freedom Fighters reveal the ugly truth. It's a nuclear missile, something none of them have ever seen before.
Fucking Christ! They've ran across nukes so many times.
They know what nukes are.
Yeah, what the heck?
Station Square launched nukes. That's what destroyed Robotropolis.
They have been the central object of like 4 different Robotnik conflicts.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, we are all completely blown away by this stunning revelation. I think that this is more evidence that Penders barely paid attention to anything other writers did.
Well, I feel like he was so isolated by working on the Knuckles stories for so long.
Well, it's odd, because he does pick up on some things, but he completely drops the ball on other things.
I wouldn't be surprised if some of that comes from, he's told, this is what you're playing, what the story, we need you to work off of this.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, maybe.
It is a ridiculous retcon. And the only reason that I don't get the most upset about it is that it's followed up with another more ridiculous retcon. Because Fiona is like, well, you know what? We can fix this. And she pulls out a gun, and Rotor opens his big fat fucking mouth and says, no, the
Freedom
fighters
don't use guns.
Don't use guns. Never have, never will. Penders!
Rotor has literally used guns!
Penders has written stories.
That's true, he has!
Guns and freedom fighters using them.
Is it...
Well,
what is it, the first part of, I want to say, Endgame, or maybe it's the first part of the Death Egg Saga or something. Something drawn by Manny Gallen starts with Rotor pulling out the biggest gun you've ever seen. This character!
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. I mean, this isn't the first time this has been brought up. Sally said the same thing to the Brotherhood a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. We bring up Rotor uses guns fairly often until they made up that stupid rule.
I thought they realized this made no sense and dropped this plot point, but then Penders brings it back for some reason.
Well, because he also wrote, because I believe, wasn't Sally telling that to the to the Brotherhood also in a Knuckles comic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Penders is the one who wrote that rule in the first place.
I think Penders is the only one who ever writes any of the Guardians, but yeah.
Yeah, true.
And that was their whole reason for refusing to help her fight Robotnik, which
is so stupid in the first place, but whatever.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Ugh. So, yeah, Isaac activates some guns that blow up the jet for some reason. I guess they don't want him to escape.
Damn, is that our second Freedom Fighter special that we've lost?
I don't know how many it is at this point. The design isn't even consistent, so...
See, this suggests to me... You were like, who's activating all this stuff? I think Isaac is
it really
behind this all.
But why is Isaac launching the nuke? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I am pretty sure this is a plan on the part of the Robotnik ancestor that Isaac is enacting on their behalf.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see.
I haven't read that, but that would make a lot of sense.
Sonic and Shadow notice like all the exhaust from the missile and are like, huh, we better get out of here.
Right, yeah.
Which really just highlights how pointless it was for them to be fighting at all for 4 issues.
Yeah.
Like, why would Shadow even bother chasing after Sonic? Just go keep learning things. I don't know.
Go keep not learning things. I don't think Shadow learned anything in his time here.
Yeah, go start learning things, maybe.
Yeah.
But they're trying to escape. Jules and Chuck are getting shot out by Isaac's missile defenses. But, yeah, they arrive in a different jet. They don't die.
I guess this is the Freedom Fighters Special 3 now.
Maybe. And Shadow... So Shadow helps Sonic escape?
Yeah, he really is acting like in Shadow the Hedgehog, where he just switches allegiances on a dime.
Yeah, it really is, damn.
Yeah, well, he helps Sonic escape and then is just like, fuck you, I'm leaving. So...
He yeets Sonic.
Yeah, he throws him at them.
Which, why didn't he wait for Sonic to, like, turn into a ball or something? That would have been easier to throw than, you know, a body.
Yeah. And so everything is exploding for reasons I'm not exactly sure of. The weird thing is, we've had this missile getting ready to launch. We don't see the missile launch. I don't think it launches.
With everything blowing up, I'm assuming the missile just blew up.
I guess?
Failed somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so our ending is basically the heroes lament that they learned absolutely nothing, and that this venture was basically pointless?
Damn. They're lamenting that they wasted our time.
Yeah, me too, buddy. Our only bit of intrigue is Isaac walks up to Ivan Kentober's cryostasis tube and says, I await your next orders.
Yeah.
Yep, like I said. So I think that's pretty well confirmed.
Well, all right. Yeah. We at least did get to see the cryotube.
This was after the plans for Dr. Droid didn't really end up happening. This was Penders' final attempt to make an ultimate super true villain in Ivan Kentober here.
Oh, interesting. That makes sense.
Weird. That's a weird choice.
And the fact that you've never heard me mention Ivan Kintober before this arc should tell you exactly how successful those plans were.
Well, darn. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't hate this. Honestly, I'm just happy to have something that involves Shadow in a large capacity finally. And so I'm going to be biased in that regard. And you are all like, why is Shadow doing what he's doing? And fair.
It's a perfect adaptation of Shadow the Hedgehog.
He does remind me a lot of Shadow the Hedgehog. And despite the fact that he hasn't lost his memory in this continuity, I don't think it's completely unreasonable that after he saves the world, he wouldn't really know what he's doing. Like, what's his purpose? What does he want to do at this point? So, yeah, he wants to learn, but then when he's like, there's nothing here, then he's like, well, I guess fighting is something I can do. So he'll fight, but then after everything's exploding, he's like, well, I don't actually want to die, so sure, let's work together. Like, honestly, I don't think it's that unreasonable. And, like, a whole lot doesn't happen, but, I mean, even though some of it makes no sense, I do find the history, the revelations to be interesting. And that's a darn shame that you spoil doesn't go anywhere. That's unfortunate, but I can't really fault this story for not being able to have a follow-up. I don't know. I found it interesting, and even if there, at the end of the day, there isn't a whole lot that came out of it.
So I definitely get the desire to see more of Shadow in these, because I like Shadow, and I want him to have more of a presence here. The problem is it feels like we're spinning our wheels with this, I think, because this issue... I think
that's my issue also.
These stories, whatever they wanted to do with them, could have been done in one issue, probably, because we didn't find out anything more meaningful than Ivan Kintober exists, because Shadow has not learned anything about his past. And while it makes sense for him to be still trying to figure out some things, the fact that he doesn't have his memory means that it's really weird when his motivations get all mixed up, because I feel like he shouldn't at least be working with the villains, because I feel like it undoes stuff from SA2. Maybe the fact that SA2 didn't happen in this comic smooths some of that over, but a lot of times it feels more to me like Penders just doesn't have a complete understanding of what Shadow is.
Yeah.
Who does? The game certainly didn't.
I suppose they were definitely confused at this point as well, but yeah, I don't know. It's definitely not like, it didn't make me want to kill myself completely, which is not true for everything Penders writes, certainly. We'll see that in a few minutes here. But yeah. Let's move on to the other part of this issue, which is, well, there is a reason that they put that Tales story in last issue. And it's because of this, The Chosen One, Part 1, Romy Chacon and Art Mawini. Sonic and Tails find themselves whisked away by Sonic the Zone Cop, who says Tails is needed to fight an interdimensional threat. Isn't that just the greatest thing that you could see at the start of this?
Always good to see Sonic. Always a joy.
Yeah,
so much.
Yeah, 100%. We're always so excited to see Sonic.
He's here for Tails instead of Sonic this time. But yes, it means
that is funny, actually.
It should surprise nobody that this means it's going to be Mogul wrecking up the multiverse. Tails never seems to fight anybody else. I guess we lost Crocbot and Octopod, so...
Yeah.
It does feel kind of weird to put Tails up against fucking Mogul of all characters. Because it kind of feels, to me, it feels a bit like, what is it? Hydrogen Bomb versus Coughing Baby. Do with that what you will.
Yeah, so there's, again, a lot of dialogue that says very little. That basically, we take Sonic and Tails to Sonic's headquarters, and they have special things to make them not sideways. But we learned that, for some fucking reason, Mogul got godlike powers because Knuckles came back to life? Since, I guess, all the power he had as Gruckles was left without an owner.
Why doesn't power need an owner?
Is this did Penders instruct Chacon to write this issue? Because this reads exactly like a Penders plot point. Oh, you guys made me get rid of Gruckles? Well, look what happens without Gruckles. He was the key to everything. It only makes things worse. Now Mogul can become God. He gets all the powers. Like,
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
Trying to
Doing
eat universes.
Just trying to make a character back into what they are instead of ridiculous, overpowered nonsense. He makes it seems like he's throwing a fit, but no, it's not him at all. It's weird. It's a weird choice.
Yeah. And it's funny because like Sonic is saying all this, and they're like, "Wow, that sounds urgent. When are we gonna do that?" And he's like, "Right now." He's right here.
Yeah,
well, it's funny.
He's on his purge right now
because the story starts and there's like a bunch of universes. It's like, oh no, Mogul just destroyed all of them.
Yeah, they say that he's destroyed every other universe that stands a chance.
Which, like, does that mean like Anti-Mobius is gone?
I think he must be exaggerating.
He has to, because that doesn't make any sense.
I don't think he's exaggerating. There's a thing at the end that explains why this works.
All right.
No, I do think he's supposed to have destroyed every universe except the main one and Sonic's universe, which is stated as such. Because that's why he bursts in and says,
"Okay, maybe they put him back
all
at the end, Dragon Ball Super style."
That is exactly what happens, as you just mentioned it. I really wish that Mogul destroying all the universes stuck, because then we wouldn't get more stories like this. But
yes,
oh well.
Because I looked it up. This comic was released in May of 2005. So Sonic Rush was coming out soon.
Oh, interesting.
But we have incredibly dated vibes here because we're just doing Night of a Thousand Sonics again. Look at all these Tailses.
Yeah, it's Night of a Thousand Tales now.
It's literally that, yeah.
And it's not like they're cool what-if alternate history. No, they're just more parodies, more references. We've got Batman Tales, Care Bear Tales, Cowboy Tales, Pregnant Tales.
Pregnant Tales? What? Oh, Purple, God, yeah.
Right? Like, what is this?
That's not Batman, that's Robin.
No, top right.
Top right. Oh! So there's a Batman and a Robin Tales here.
Some of these are just weird. Like, there's Tails as, like, an adult baby, Tails as a caveman, Tails with a bad haircut and a purple shirt. What is that one?
Benjamin Franklin Tales.
Yeah.
And Abraham Lincoln?
Yeah, like, what? And one of these is just Tails with a hat?
Do we have, like, pre-turbo Tails? Like, or already turbo? I don't get...
They just made up whatever they felt like. And that's our cliffhanger, is that we brought all the Tailses here.
That is, I must say, for the wrong reasons, that's a hell of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, emphasis on hell.
Emphasis on hell, yeah.
Anyway, time for a really, really bad issue that pisses me off and is offensive. This is Sonic the Hedgehog number 150. It's a milestone issue, you guys. Clearly, all this stuff with Ivan Kentober and nuclear weapons and the alternate history and Isaac, clearly that must have been building up to this. We're going to have all of it come to a head here, right?
No. Mm-hmm. Yeah, clearly.
There's a reason that this is the least detailed cover for any milestone issue.
Just Sonic's bastard of a face.
They're usually full of big status quo changes, right?
They are.
Sonic vs. Metal Sonic, Endgame, Robotnik's Return, freeing the Robians, the Zorda War. This was hyped up by the editors as like a crazy event issue at the time. Like all the others.
I'd say there's a couple kind of crazy events in this story.
There are.
They aren't good, but they're crazy.
But not in a good way. Yeah, none of those are represented here. This is not an event issue in the slightest, I would say. It is a random pair of very poor stories that could have gone anywhere, but should have gone nowhere. It's really bad. It's not just tone deaf. It's not just entirely drawn by Art Mawhinney, who I would not say is like your number one hip cool artist. But, well, here we go. This is Hero to Zero in no time at all. Penders and Mawhinney. Tensions run high in Knothole and on Angel Island alike, as Rouge and what appears to be Sonic manipulate people's feelings to get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So, we start off with Sonic, Dr. Evil air quotes on that one, bopping a SWATbot.
How did a SWATbot get in a Knothole anyway?
Shadowbot, but yeah, I don't know why he's here. Eggman,
happened before.
I guess Eggman.
I guess it has, yeah.
Eggman still knows their location, right?
He should.
Yeah, so he does that, he gets a chili dog. Ash makes fun of Sonic, and as soon as he goes to do something else, he starts flirting with Mina. Oh god.
Oh god, we're back!
Yeah, so as soon as this happened, I knew exactly what was going on, considering Sonic showed up last issue.
Oh, yeah,
Indeed.
fair. I feel like I should have put that together quicker.
We've
Well,
seen this exact ploy happen before.
something like it, yes. But
Similar, yeah.
I feel like I am both pitying and very disappointed in Mina here, who's instantly like, "Oh, Sonic," because clearly we were supposed to be putting that to bed.
Well, she does, and then she has second thoughts pretty quickly.
Yeah, she runs away later. I still don't like it.
No, I don't like it either.
In between this, we randomly cut to Rouge overhearing Knack talking to some human. Already question marks are appearing in my brain, plotting to steal Chaos Emeralds from Angel Island.
It's the Station Square Mafia.
Yeah, it's clearly just some rich.
It's organized. It's organized crime, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Also, is it me or does Rouge look kind of off with Art Moini's art?
It's Moini partially. It's that she's actually wearing her hero's outfit here, but they've colored it like her normal outfit, so it looks weird.
Gotcha. That's okay. Yeah, I mean, that does make sense.
But it's very funny because Rouge hears all that, and it's like, great, it's me, it's my time. I am sending that island plummeting to Earth.
She's still a government agent. I don't think Station Square's government would be okay with this.
No, but she's acting like
like Rouge.
Yeah, very much like.
But she's
Sonic
not
Battle.
acting.
This is the real Sonic Battle adaptation
because
this is when Rouge is supposedly working for the government, but is actually really just in it for the gems.
Yes,
I guess.
I don't think that callous disregard for people's safety was quite part of it, because she knows. I think she should know that it would crash the island into the ocean. Or
I assume she does.
It's happened before, and I don't even know that anyone died.
I mean, yes, that is true. I guess if we're accepting that that's Pender's premise, I still think it's stupid.
I think it's very in character, and I'm glad to see Rouge somewhat relevant in a story. It's weird that she hasn't done much of anything at this point.
Maybe.
Until this point, I should say.
Yeah, so Mina does realize that cavorting with Sonic is a bad idea, and she runs off. Wherein he immediately decides to make a pass at Amy instead.
He's child.
Obvious already.
Yeah, because Sonic would never do this. So this is when I realized that this is not very, very good.
And it gets worse, because the very next page is Tails walking in on him making out with Bunny?
Okay, so this one is the only one that confuses me. The other two I don't bat an eye at, but why would Bunny go for this? No, she wouldn't.
No, because she's still been wondering what happened with Antoine, which, oh boy.
I mean, it's a rebound, but I don't believe it, no.
No, but Bunny doesn't seem like the type to have this kind of rebound.
Yeah, and, oh god. So, Sonic says, Tails, I don't care about you, I'm busy, go leave somewhere else. And so Tails runs off, he's a little annoyed, because he's like, I need Sonic attention. And then we have this next page. We smash cut. Hi everyone, Devin from the future in editing here to give you a little content warning for exactly what's coming up here, namely sexual assault. So if you're not comfortable with that, head out. Also, I'm here to apologize for the usage of smash cut in this. I don't think I realized the implicit pun in that when I said it, so good luck. To Sonic and Bunny sitting under the moonlight with this dialogue. Our little nap went a little long. This day is like a weird dream. Which the response is, hey, it's just a nap, but if it's a dream, it's a great one.
Oh, boy.
So, the implication here, and Penrose has confirmed this, and there's no ambiguity, is they had sex?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you could have any other implication here.
It's quite... No, I don't agree with that.
Why is this in my Sonic comic?
Well, so I don't really want Sonic comics to be about teenagers fucking... But worse than that is that on this same page, we get the reveal that this isn't Sonic. It's evil Sonic. It's anti-Sonic, which you
yeah,
could have
it's
guessed.
anti-Sonic. Obviously.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah, it was obvious.
And his entire plan here, apparently, is that he's pretending to be Sonic to be admired, steal food, and sleep around with women.
Jesus Christ.
See, and I don't know, I almost understand it with Bunny because she's completely depressed, but
I guess.
But she's the only one I even have any problem with. The rest of this, yeah, given that, I think this makes complete sense. Yeah, evil Sonic is trying to screw with Sonic.
He's trying to kill Sonic's reputation.
Yeah, and just generally be a terrible person, which is exactly what he is. He's being his truest self here.
Yeah, he's being as petty as hedgehogly possible.
Yes, I mean he's pathetic, and this is
he really is.
He's not even like. There was at one point he was an evil villain trying to, get someone out of control. This is just petty, and it's really, really gross. Because lying
the last few times we've seen him, he's just been doing petty crimes.
This is worse though, and this is just
this is totally
new level of gross. Because lying about your identity to make out with people, and especially to have sex with them, that is sexual assault.
Yes, it is. That is 100% sexual assault.
And it's not even paid like the barest of mind.
Yeah.
So you are correct, but you realize that evil Sonic is evil, right?
I mean,
I know he's evil, but I don't think that the story cares about how evil this is. I don't think they're treating
Sonic meet Sonic yet, so I don't know how that is treated.
It's sexual assault though, and I feel like if you were to write this, which you shouldn't write this into this is not what Sonic should be. Don't do it. But if you were to do this, you need to have some fucking tact. And Penders absolutely does not. I want to tell you guys this because I saw this on Bobby's blog years ago and I could not believe it. It was like, oh my god. Because people on Penders' forums asked him, how could Bunny be doing this with Sonic, if she's supposed to not be over Antoine yet? Is this going to create tension between them? And Pender's response is very telling because he said, Antoine is too much of a romantic. He could forgive just about any transgression Bunny committed.
Jesus.
And I feel like that is extremely fucked up. These are two people who were broken up, and Bunny getting exploited in that is being called a transgression.
Jesus. That just hurt to hear.
So, once again, I must say that I'm not going to comment here because you're once again judging the comic by extra material outside of it.
I understand that. I understand that, and I understand this is an uncomfortable subject. I don't blame you for staying a lot out of these discussions, but it's just, it's just gross.
Yeah, I think
this
that's
would be
the best way to put it.
This would feel misogynistic to have been written no matter what Pender said, but it's just, So, I apologize for taking it to that place. I know it's not something that you're interested in with regards to the show, so I will move on, but holy shit, fuck that.
Jesus,
Back on the comic, I like that when Evil Sonic came into the universe, he wasted no time in getting revenge against Antoine for last time.
That's true.
And then we learned something else about Antoine here.
Oh, God.
Yes.
Which is that he proceeded to kidnap him and replace him with the other Antoine.
Yes, so...
Oh my God.
Ended up here as part of a gimmick by Anti-Antoine, who they're calling Patch now, I believe. I don't know if I did that before,
true.
But...
I don't remember.
He apparently got so fed up with Anti-Sonics, he tried to throw him out of their dimension for good, but he ended up switched with our Antoine when Anti-Sonic overpowered him, which is what gave him the idea to replace our Sonic, I guess, after waiting a while.
Holy shit.
So this means everything we've seen of Antoine since the time skip is now retconned to have been Patch all along.
Holy shit.
This is absolutely insane. I never could have seen this coming. Like, when you were like, there's something funny that happens, it's not good.
This is not what I was expecting.
But it's funny. No, just retcon the whole thing.
Yeah, but like, shit, it was Patch.
This is incredibly stupid, and it breaks the story so much because we've had all these stories about how, oh, Antoine changed because of this and this, he got injured, this happened, he cut off his relationship with this girl.
Fuck you.
That flashback doesn't make any sense now because it didn't happen to the actual character that we were deciding the character is.
Oh my god.
And so it's very stupid. However, it does mean that our Antoine is not a moody bitch that Ballard's planned him to be.
And that is why I have to respect this decision, because it does fix it, even if it's in a very bizarre way.
I don't know. This is such a weird way to fix that. It would have been so much better to just give an actual explanation.
I don't know how you could have possibly. I mean, you
it's
could have, but it would have been painful.
It would have. I mean, a simple explanation would have just been PTSD. That when he gets that Bunny, they eventually get back together, and Bunny helps him through it.
That is true.
Helps him cope with it.
That.
That's what I would have.
Though, that wasn't going to happen. We are going to... I've decided that we should, at the end of this arc of the comics, do an entire video where we go over the canceled plans that Ballers and Penders had, because they have them up online. We can read them.
Okay, interesting.
And that was not in the cards. So the fact that Penders did this, dumb as it is, was ultimately beneficial. I would be overjoyed to see the reset button pressed on Antoine Bunny's relationship.
Yeah.
Aside from this being the sexual violation comic. So, yes.
I mean, we can just ignore the sexual violation comic. We don't have to think about it anymore.
Yes. Well, the comic ignores it. Why the hell won't we? Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So that is our explanation for all of that. Rouge is on Angel Island now, and they already have big city structures rebuilt after the Eggman attack.
I mean, if anyone can do it quick, it's probably going to be Echidnopolis.
It's going to be Penders is what it is. He doesn't...
Well, also Penders.
Because he didn't want any of the stuff from Return of Angel Island to happen, so he's trying to reset it as fast as possible.
Too fucking bad, asshole, it happened.
Yeah, it's...
Still, though, if anyone can rebuild quickly, it would be the Echidnas.
And I mean, this is definitely what Locke would do.
Yeah.
Between that and abandoning his people to go look for the Brotherhood, yes. Rouge also comments on thinking Locke is hot, which is weird. He's like 3 times her age.
I don't think she cares.
She's just saying that to...
yeah, probably.
Ingratiate herself.
Actually, I don't know if Penders knew how old Rouge is supposed to be, so...
True.
I don't know how old Rouge is supposed to be.
I mean, according to Heroes, she's 18.
Is that stated in the game?
It's in the manual.
Yeah, right. Those manuals say a lot of things.
That's true. Like Eggman's a feminist.
Knuckles like scripts. Oh wait, no, that's definitely canon.
That's 100%
canon. To lie about being a feminist tonight.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So that's she's clearly trying to manipulate Locke, though.
Oh yeah.
And meanwhile, Anti-Sonic steps on a fucking landmine.
Good. Blow him up.
What? Well, it's like I don't even remember, like, because he doesn't get injured by this somehow, but Sally then for some reason says, "I should have known better than to send you on this assignment." What? What assignment?
Because in the flashback, Sonic was talking about that he was basically sweeping for landmines when Anti-Sonic jumped him.
I guess, but it's been hours of him walking around making out with people, so...
Yeah, and Sonic is currently location unknown.
Well, see, this is another reason why Sally's disappointed, is because it took so long.
It took so long, and he still hasn't
any
finished.
Results, and he's not even doing it correctly.
And I think that makes enough sense.
Alright. Well, anywho, so Rouge, I guess, is trying to... She's kind of the inverse of Anti-Sonic here. She's trying to sexually excite Locke to get information on the Master Emerald from him. Which I guess, at least Locke knows what he's getting into, other than it being a lie. Which makes her better than Anti-Sonic. But at a certain point, he's like, wait a minute. That doesn't work on me. My wife may have divorced me, but I'm not that far down.
He says.
I don't know why this issue is so horny. Anyway, so he's like, no, I teleport you to the woods. And so he just... Oh, no, Archimedes does it,
It was
actually.
Archimedes who did it.
Yeah, Archimedes does it.
Sorry, I always forget that he exists, because, like...
No,
we hadn't seen him in so long, and now he's suddenly back.
Locke was playing along in order to find out what Rouge was trying to do. And before she got teleported away...
She slips up and uses the term Guardian.
Yeah, he actually caught her on something.
Anyway, so Rouge is in Knothole now, and now Anti-Sonic is going after her, because I hate this.
God.
Now, thankfully, it doesn't go that way. But...
to be fair, if there's one of the worst... Rouge might be one of the worst people for Anti-Sonic to go after, because she could probably manipulate him a lot easier than he can manipulate her.
Yeah, I'd want to actually see that, because that would probably end up really bad for Evil Sonic.
Yeah, just let him get beaten up. God.
So I want to exposit here, because we'll get a continuation of this part of the story next week, but it's probably belongs better here. This is a quote from Penders about this part of the story.
Okay.
He says, "When I resumed writing Sonic as a main feature with issue 145, I made it clear I was aiming to correct the fiasco Carl foisted upon fandom with the infamous slap. Way to throw your co-writer under the bus. Both Mike and I, Mike being the editor, were determined to correct what mainly perceived at the time as the worst moment in the book's history." I don't know if I agree with that.
No.
However, neither of us saw that getting corrected over the course of an issue or 2 or 3. Rather, it was decided that Sonic would play the field for a while, allowing him to discover exactly why Sally was always the girl for him.
Jesus.
So, the wording of play the field aside, here's what I think this means. After this issue, the way that they deal with what Anti-Sonic pulled in relation to Sonic is very, very sloppy. And part of that is negligence. Part of that is, I think that what Penders' plan here was for Sonic to date all of these women individually before circling back around to Sally.
Jesus Christ. That is...
Yeah. So I think I'm very, very glad that Penders is not long for this comic.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to the final story of the night and leave all of that disgustingness behind. It's like even though next week it starts with a follow-up to the story, it has none of the baggage, thankfully.
Right. All right. Fair.
Okay, it has some of it, but let's move on. Chosen One, Part 2, Chakon and Mawini. With the entire multiverse of tales gathered in one room, Sonic's gambit to defeat Mammoth Mogul is unleashed. We fast forward through a lot of the theatrics of Night of a Thousand Sonics. It's a lot of the same bickering and, oh, you're an alternate universe me, yada yada yada. And then Mogul breaks in to attack. And he's huge now.
Yeah, he's become a kaiju for some reason.
It's because he has the emerald powers, and he's like, hey, Dimitri did this at one point. I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to do it too.
I guess fair enough. That would be more of an interesting story than this.
Yeah, so all of the Tailses swarm him like we would expect. They even referenced a giant Borg because they did the exact same thing to that.
I like that. I appreciate references like that.
I don't know. Maybe it should have been a tip-off that this was not the best idea for a comic, but no worries, because it can get dumber. Tails, I guess...
Sonic gets shot.
Sonic gets shot, which I guess is what triggers Tails' Super Saiyan transformation here.
Yeah, this is just Goku going Super Saiyan on Namek.
Yeah, except it does nothing to Sonic. He's fine when he gets up 2 minutes later, but...
Yeah.
Tails taps into the Chosen One prophecy, or whatever, and all of the Tailses are merged into one being. It's the ultimate self. Homestuck didn't lie to me. We can see the lives and memories of all Dirk Strider's splinters, and now Tails can too. Will he get a sweet outfit, a post-existential outlook on the universe? No,
he becomes a stand.
He becomes a giant fucking muscular beef monster.
Why couldn't this just be like Uber Turbo Tails? Why does this have to be Buff Tails?
It is a dumb design.
It's so stupid.
The writers and artists are supremely out of touch.
They really are.
they don't understand what the appeal of Tails is. He's a cute, techie foxboy sidekick, and they've turned him into a big, buff bruiser who shoots lasers from his eyes.
Well, yeah. Well, I feel like already the whole Chosen One plot point ignores the appeal of Tails.
Oh, absolutely. But this is just so absurd.
But my problem is just giving him another form. He already has a super form that, I mean, I don't know if it's more. I don't know how powerful Turbo Tails is, but make him like, I don't know, Sigma Tails or something. And give him another alliteration.
But listen, if they made him Turbo Tails, the cape would get in the way. He wouldn't be able to spin his tails with his toned, muscular ass cheeks to suck the power out of Mogul. And into his ass, I guess.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my problem with this is simply that it's kind of anticlimactic.
It's very much anticlimactic.
It's just like, oh shoot, guess I better just fuse and win instantly. Like there isn't even he turns the tails and wins on the next page.
It's more Dragon Ball. Fight. Yeah, there's no fight. It's a beam struggle, and then he pulls out a Deus Ex Machina. It's more Dragon Ball bullshit.
It's not even Dragon Ball. They do fight, but
well, yeah, they do.
Not for long.
Oh, well, sometimes it goes for episodes.
Dragon Ball fights last for a long time.
I'm not talking about Dragon Ball. Gosh darn it, I'm talking about this comic.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying it's not like Dragon Ball, because they actually do fight in that show.
Well, no, it's just, but it's the stupid of, I pulled a new form out of my ass, and it has, I don't know, the shotgun attack.
Dragon Ball Super.
Okay, fair. It's Dragon Ball Super. I pulled a new form out of my ass that has shotgun powers, and I blow your fucking head off.
Yes. So sucking the power out of Mogul makes Tails the chosen one of cosmic legend, the ultimate power in the multiverse. He is this buff fox boy posing like a Vogue model. Is now the most powerful being to ever exist in any universe forever.
God fucking help us all.
And,
well, see, at least he's not an idiot like Gruckles was, where he's like, I'm gonna try to make reality in my own image. Tails is like, I'm just gonna fix reality.
Yeah, we're going to put reality back to normal, and then I'm going to give up my power.
Control Z.
Smart thing to do. Exactly. Yep. He just presses Control Z on literally everything, including himself, apparently.
Yeah. Which I got to respect that.
Yeah.
I suppose so. And then we smash cut back to everything being fixed, and Sonic and Tails apparently having no memory of the incident.
Of course they do. You know what? No, I'm glad, because that might mean Tails could remember how to become Titan Tails again.
Tails honestly probably doesn't want to remember any of that.
Well, Tails definitely doesn't. Sonic probably doesn't, because I mean, a melon baller will help with that.
It is a little disappointing, I will say, that he does just stuff Mogul in a Chaos Emerald again. Like, that's not going to work. He's going to break out.
He escaped somehow last time.
What the fuck, man?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. You really hyped up this as the worst issue, like, ever in all of Sonic, practically. And I was like, okay, well, I better buckle up. And it's not all that. It's all that extra stuff that you put on top of it. Really, it's just evil Sonic being a jerk, and then it's just the next chapter of Tails is the chosen one. It's underwhelming, but I mean, it does try a little bit.
Well, so I'll admit, I sort of knew that this stuff happened. I didn't realize that it happened in 150 until Devin started hyping it up as being so terrible.
Well, I do think there is a disconnect here, and it's because this issue does not, on the surface, look like the worst thing ever. You know, not just because Mooney's art is fine. We've been over this. I think it's just that everything contextually regarding this issue. Certainly the fact that I'm putting some of Pender's statements in there, and
that doesn't help.
And the fact that they have they do have vagaries with regards to Anti-Sonic and Bunny. I will note, by the way, the text on that page is digitally re-lettered, so it probably used to be more explicit what happened between them. But it's not so much that this is every mistake at once. It's not the least competent Sonic issue ever. It's just that it's one of the best representatives of how the writing fails in these comics, between Pender's misogyny and retcons and Chacon's just utterly unaware of what Sonic is supposed to be like. I don't know. I can't see Sonic here is the problem. So you don't need to hate this as much as I do. I don't blame you for not being upset the way I was, but it's just I don't like it.
We don't
Well,
have
that's
to like
fine.
it.
You're entitled to not liking it.
Yeah. But okay, well, okay. I'd like to say that there's nowhere to go but up from here, and that's probably true. But there's still 10 issues before we're saved from this, and we're not at rock bottom now, but we are going to be like grazing it until we get there.
All right, cool.
But next time on Deep Dive Zone, we have some real gays, so that'll be nice. But with all that said, we're going to be done for tonight. Thank you all so much for enduring this with us, and thank you two for being here with me and letting me waffle about how angry some of this makes me. I know that it was not comfortable for a lot of it, so I apologize for bringing that. But
it's fine.
It's all part of the experience, So with all that said,
Yeah.
that is going to be it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you want to contact us, you can view us at any of the Linktree links in the description. If you like this video, please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We will see you next week for less emotions running high than this week. And have a great night. Take care.